Okay, it's 8 p.m. We're in Joinville. The live stream, the date, right? July 22nd, 2026, today's live stream. An orchestra as a body territory. Obviously, everyone knows I'm not a conductor, that I don't play in an orchestra. We're going to use the orchestra to start understanding ourselves better, you yourself, and even with a model of the state as well. An orchestra as a body territory. How can I look at an orchestra and see some values in it, and values that can be representative for us? How can I look at an orchestra? Right? The conductor, the orchestra, 30 elements. The conductor plus the sessions use the small leaderships and various parts of the orchestra. We're not going to discuss the details. Obviously, we're not experts. The idea is the conductor's idea, the orchestra. The conductor is there in the middle, controlling a movement, controlling a quality, highlighting points. And this is very important for us to understand ourselves and begin to better comprehend our way of being. An orchestra as a body territory. First, I spoke in other live streams about the importance of the state when it is born from a body. Our state, not only the Brazilian state, but several states, more than 90% of all states. The state as a unit is a figure that is a person, a CPF, Brazilian tax identification number, or something isolated from territory. It is isolated, it is an abstraction. The state is built on nothing. So what happens? Any state is easily hijacked by very rich people of the territory, because we're going to talk about orchestras today to understand that the orchestra can also be a body, the territory a collective, and you can also be a collective with your ideas and thoughts. So we're going to extrapolate to that. And this idea of ours is that the state can be a corrective to all our others and is not hijacked, working for That's the idea. So it's not a difficult idea, and we're going to focus on the ruling element. But along with the ruling element, we're going to take you. Today, my brother came here to Joinville, and we had a barbecue. We had parties and talked a lot. One of the things I talked to him about, and I talked to him again, I said, look, consciousness is indeed spatial. Everything you perceive and everything you see has a representation, an abstraction within your body. 3 dimensions. Why 3 dimensions? Because it's within the brain, viscera, muscles, these entire bodily dimensions. The environment surrounding you has these dimensions of how consciousness will manifest itself. And it tenses this muscle, it imposes this routine, this belief, it mixes things up. So it has an internal representation within you in 3 dimensions. And outside of those 3 dimensions, there are 2 more, which are the movement of these spaces within you and the qualia. The movement of these spaces is, I'm perceiving this now, a memory of the past, a memory of the future, a memory of learning, a semantic or episodic memory. Am I perceiving this or that? And these perceptions and this attention create this space. Give it more space, give it more space. And suddenly a chord here. You move that space into a chord. There we're back to the conductor. The orchestra is here. The score is in front of each musician. Everyone knows what they're going to do. They're well trained. They have the technique all nice and neat. I mean, they have leaders, they have precision, they have the score, they have breathing, they have the orchestra's mistakes. And there's also a beauty that occurs when it recovers. It's the beauty that engages. And that depends a lot on the conductor, okay? The conductor is someone who synchronizes without an authoritarian command. He will navigate there. And this example will be very good for us. I repeated something to my brother today that I often tell many people. Okay, Jato, and what is human karma? Human karma is believing in what you think. Isn't that interesting? Every thought is a structure you have in your body, stored from old or new memories, or from processing, and the thought comes. It's a product that comes to leave. It's the exit from your body territory system. Thought. It wants to leave the thought. From the moment the thought if you have a belief and you believe in it, it comes back. It reincarnates. It becomes your own karma for believing in your thoughts. Thoughts have to come to you, and you will govern your thoughts, attitudes, ideas, and attention because you are the ruler of your life. And that's the idea of the ruler today. Obviously, if anyone looks at where I put the link, where this rulership is, our basic proposal is to try to see with Mars. Mars is a brain measurement, all the components of the rulership, 30 components, and know if there is some symmetry or synchronicity between them. This is very technical. This is for researchers, and we'll only take examples. NIRS will actually measure this cerebral hemodynamics. EEG could measure some things like synchronization is key, but EEG data for 30 people is a bit more complicated. Then there's also breathing, heart rate variability response, and synchronization video, which won't record everything, but these are just ideas. This combination of all these factors can give you a behavioral idea of the group. In research, it's always better to focus on just one element. Focus on it and see if there are any specific results before continuing the research. The idea is, at the moment you have this orchestra playing, what is the moment that truly creates synchronicity? What is the moment that creates a transcendence where the audience, the musicians, and the conductor feel touched by something greater? That something greater is the collective, the inclusive we. It's a we that involves the audience. It's all of us. So there's a feeling that you've been elevated, that you've left the situation you were in and contemplate the whole, including the collective. That's the idea of the body territory. The musicians are already trained. The conductor has practiced many times, but the conductor will make a movement, a step, the highlight. He will allow this highlight. But is the emphasis always placed on the second movement of the conducting, or, I don't know, on a certain number of seconds of the conducting? No, because the emphasis we give depends on the audience's response. It depends on what they feel from the musicians. It depends on the performance of the musicians and of themselves. And they will emphasize the feeling they feel. And this feeling they feel comes from the collective. It's not from one person, it's from the inclusive we. We as body territory. It's not just the score, it's not just the meter, it's essence, it's existence, it's living, the now at maximum intensity in we together. We are not forming a unified territory, simply together, touching, expressing ourselves and touching. So that's the idea we have today. How can we improve your life, improve my life, and also improve the ideas of government plans for a state, knowing that governance can change all of that. So there are some things that are important to highlight, and one of them that I highlight here is placing you as the ruler of yourself, okay? The ruler appears as a temporal center of coordination. He is not the owner of all of Curitiba. He is a temporal center. So, in your life, sometimes you're in a place and a thought comes to you, an idea, a belief, a thought that just comes to you. or a reaction comes to do something, or you think about someone. I've talked about this several times today. What you think about someone is important for adjusting your relationship with that person, but more important than thinking about someone is thinking about why you think that way. Many times I think this or that because I'm from this culture and this background, and that person is from another culture and another background, another religion, or another political party. And I think this only because he has a different attitude, or she is different, or doesn't accept the same pattern or more. I'm going to think about the other person's attitude to try to fit them into the world I've already created within myself. In the world I've created within myself, this is yellow, this is red, this is right, this is wrong. The other person doesn't fit here, so they're wrong. Hold on, they don't fit, they're wrong, or is your world too narrow? Do you understand? So when you are governed by your own thoughts, your emotions, your needs, your pains, your longings come to mind. Your boredom, your desire to go, not to go, to stay, not to stay, it all comes together and you will control it. Now I'm going to let it take over me. Now I'm not going to let this emotion in. Now I'm going to control my attention so it doesn't go here. Because if it goes here, it increases the space inside me, and that space becomes large, and that space will hurt me, and I become a conductor. Not that I deny this or that person, not that I deny this or that idea or thought, but with my actions and with my control, I can highlight this. Or that detail about those people, that involvement with everyone everywhere. Sometimes I felt very good today, most days, because that's what happened here at home today. The group starts talking, saying, go here, go there, go up, go down, come back, enter. So the leadership becomes very dynamic. It was raining, it was dirty there. My sister-in-law grabbed a cloth and started sweeping. My wife arrived and did something. My other brother went there and did something. And then there was his affiliate who started doing something else, all of that. Half together, half coordinated, becoming one thing. This thing gives a sense of belonging to each member of the group. So the conductor, when he is there in his studio, will try to do this, not in rehearsals, but when he is conducting and with the audience together, he will try to give comfort and a sense of belonging to all the musicians and a sense of belonging to the audience itself. So with everyone belonging to each other, the conductor himself surrenders to the collective, and it is the collective that will conduct within the conductor's metric the moment to convey this or that. So at some point, he will convey the synchronicity of the movements. This one touches, that one touches, and you'll do the same in your life. There are things in your life that are coming to you, they're coming to your head right now, and you say, it's not the right time for this to come. Why did it come? And then an interesting question arises. You don't question a thought or idea you're having because it's bad. You question why it came. I'll have a stomach ache, a headache, I'll be hungry, I'll be very tired, I'm very stressed. I passed the pill, it went, I broke through these thoughts that shouldn't be coming, and yet they are coming. It's a sign that the biological part might be suffering, which is normal, and then you don't unload one thought onto another, and someone comes to you and gives you a whole sense of belonging to a group. Come to this group and look, your enemy is this one, let's hate them. And then it's easy. You belong to the group, you receive a lot of lies, you believe them, and you're going to hate someone or something. And now you're part of a flock that belongs. Yes, but who is your leader? It's not a good conductor. And sometimes it's a social media algorithm. So this is very important for you all, and I wanted to share a lot with you today. So look, If we do a conducting study, you can compare several things in that conducting. The study can compare the recording, the live performance with or without an audience. Centralized and distributed leadership, whether the conductor really lets the leadership pass or not. And the moment of consented risk, at some point that breaks something, whether the structure recombines, whether the ensemble combines with the conductor. This is very interesting. Sometimes you're in a group with your family or friends at a bar, at a football game, anywhere. You found yourself in a group and suddenly something happens that creates instability. This instability is caused by information, hostile or not, but it creates instability. It's as if the group rebuilds itself, recomposes itself, and becomes a collective body again. It becomes a unit again. The conductor doesn't play all the instruments or produce all the sounds. Their function is to modulate the field. The conductor accelerates, sustains, opens space, calls for a session, gives protagonism. To protect a pause and lead the group, that is the conductor. In your life, what do you do with your thoughts? Your thoughts. So what do? You call a session, you call a thought, you call a memory, you surrender it. Look, now this memory will command, now I will perceive myself as this memory. Today, in one of my conversations, I said to my brother, I said, but do you know the difference between having faith and being faith? Having a belief and being the belief? Oh, I don't know about that. Look, when you have a belief, you use the belief to do something, to feel something, to get emotional, or to act directly. But when a belief or faith uses you, you realize you are it. So you've been shaped by a social belief. Notice, religious, ideological, it doesn't matter. Belief is something you use and it's like a ruler. Now I'm going to call on it. Why? Man, I'm discouraged. My life seems to lose its meaning. No, but there is a Buddha, there is a God, there is something. And then you're going to create that belief and give it meaning and purpose and direction. And you continue another day, another now. The important thing is this quality now for you, and you will succeed. It's enough to govern well and not lead with a fixed mindset. I will lead my thoughts. Don't try to lead your thoughts, because when you think you're going to control your thoughts, it's one of the thoughts that's controlling you. I've talked about this quite a bit too. There's a time when there's a very strong emotion and it anchors itself in the thought. So the thought strengthens the emotion and the emotion is represented in the thought. It's stuck. It's a very beautiful pairing. And sometimes this emotion with this thought usurps the whole being, all of you. And it's just a thought anchored in that emotion. Emotion is good, that's fine. But why is this thought anchored? And why does it now want to be the tyrant of your life, disrupting your entire life? Salvation is this now. I have the truth now. This party is communist. This party is fascist. Now what? An emotion has locked a phrase in you, and this para-emotion in thought only blocked you, gave you bias. There's nothing, there's no materiality, there's nothing. It's simply groups of belonging blocking each other. Then the conductor comes in. The conductor isn't the leader of the orchestra either. The conductor is this time signature, this expression, this movement. I told you in the other live streams, and I'll repeat it for you, we have 5 dimensions. Consciousness has 5 dimensions. Spatial consciousness in our model to be a neutral and critical model so that everyone doesn't fall into a model and try to create their own. But what always, when you represent something, you have an abstract representation in your body. Yes, but doesn't the orchestra conductor exist? Yes, this representation of images within me can move, it can fade with our attention, and with our attention I can have highlights. Or sometimes the sound of a rainbow comes and gives the highlight, gives the qualia. But if you are in a reasonably controlled environment, you yourself will give the highlight. How is that, Chaco? If I myself give the highlight, that's how it is. Look, a pen. It's a space, it's a perception. A pen. I really like this pen because it's silver and gold. It's not a cheap pen, no. It's an expensive pen, silver and with a doctorate. And I really like it. But look at that. Wow, a pen. Did you notice the emphasis? I evoked an emotion. I added value to something that was extremely simple. Because at the moment I add this value to this pen, now I'm going to have the emotion of that room. I changed my consciousness because this had within my representation, the representation of my territorial body, a greater prominence, a greater emphasis. So this emphasis, this greater prominence can now cause a change in my consciousness. Whoa. At this moment in the orchestra and in this interaction in public silence, something similar I give to this instrument or that instrument, to this artist or that instrument, I, as the conductor, you understand? This greater prominence causes the collective to change, and this collective changing, I, the conductor, I'll understand and give the leadership to another highlight, to another thought, to another belief system, to another objective. And these highlights that you have in your life are your guiding principles, but always based on. This is very interesting for all of us because from the moment you, as the conductor of your life, are a temporary center of coordination, but you don't own everything. When you realize you are, it's your thought. It's not all of you. It's a part of what came. You understand? So you're going to conduct, okay, this control came, but man, the collective is much bigger and the orchestra has this mission. It senses space, the acoustic vibration of the audience, and will try to create that harmony and will play and will move you. As long as you're not moved, the collective isn't appearing and suddenly a conductor and he returned. Look, the collective is starting to emerge. So you're in it, you're playing together, you're part of a collective that I also call true thought or something similar. But this is a very important thing. You have to have this set of things. And you yourself, I've always said and continue to say, the thought that comes to you is not bad. It's not good in itself. What's bad and good is accepting a thought or getting lost in being what you think. Look at the thought. Why am I having this thought? Is it because I ate badly? Because I slept badly? I don't exercise? Why am I having this aggressive thought against someone or something, and especially something that is done, then it gets worse. But I have friends and teachers, former teachers, I don't have teachers anymore now, but even researchers who get so angry about something that's just an effect. It's astonishing. Understand this. I can create a sound effect for you, a visual effect for you, a beautiful word effect. It can create great emotions, but the effect is not the cause itself. You who created the emotion are more causal, but an effect can be fake. So emotion is not the seal of truth. That's something I've felt many times. Why do you think this path is true? Is this religion true? Because I get goosebumps, I get emotional. That's an effect. Emotion is a beautiful effect. We live on effects, we live on emotions. But it's not a reflection of reality or facts. It's simply effects. It's the crying, the emotion. And these effects are fundamental to life. An orchestra wants to create an effect. It won't present a reality to you. It will give a collective feeling and create an effect. It will give you an experience. You, like living DNA expressing itself in the body, will experience it. Your heart will beat faster, slower. Your breathing will rise, fall, become longer. You will get goosebumps. It's an effect. When this happens in some religious or ideological diets, This effect creates a herd mentality. Everyone follows that side without facts, without anything in between. It's just, and behind them, someone is monetizing, making a lot of money. And this herd of people, 5 million followers for this one, 10 million followers for that one. Now that one talks about betting on Betis, or 20 million betting on Betis. It's an effect. So that's where you have to understand things. Who creates the emotional effect? A body territory. Who is a body territory? You. And how do you control the effect within yourself? With your guidance. This thought, this emotion, this belief, this highlight. Now it's this highlight. Now there's this tea, that smell, that bath, that food, that clothing, that exercise, that walk. These highlights of life will allow you to have self-control, and this control will create a collective. Obviously, our work, in addition to research, is to help researchers study the collective of 30 people. Look, the best study today, the evidence puts video on this, these 30 people, and suddenly you put NIRS, which is a cerebral hemodynamic system, and this NIRS, you start to see which area of the brain of each of them is activating in a certain synchronicity, in a certain synchronic relationship with the other. And you say, look, at this moment here, possibly we are in a collective. Possibly because every measure of the whole is a reduction of the whole. If I add NIRS, EEG, respiration, and I add video, and I add heart rate variability, those are more measures. I can get closer, and the qualitative thing that each person felt at each moment is even closer. But these measures are already important to know if the collective exists. We know, for example, that the Brazilian team at the World Cup lacked cohesion. The Italian coach didn't promote teamwork. Each player was more interested in making videos and earning money than in playing. There was no team spirit. I believe this situation may not last much longer because monetization came into play. Art is instrumentalized by monetization, which is very important. And then you're losing the collectives. You're losing the control. The control is based on money. What am I going to do? What watch am I going to buy? What haircut? What painting? What tattoo? What am I going to show? What am I going to film? What kind of haircut am I going to get? Instagram videos, I don't know. So the agency ends, and the artist, the director, the players have a very strong job for society, which I tell you, we have that homeostasis in our body. These tensions leak out, they come out, you relax. When an entire population of a football team representing the country plays, and especially the Latinos, right? You feel that emotion. Many things are resolved in your body, resolved collectively. There are people who have a certain tension and go to see an orchestra, and these tensions are released. Because it's allostasis, tensions trapped in certain parts of the body. You can't get them to metabolize. It's energy. It's locked inside you. Then you go to an orchestra or something. The orchestra made this movement, made that one, and we caught the spin, almost feeling you in a generic way, everyone. And it goes with this emotion and that one and that emotion and that one. Suddenly the throat signal you had turned into a tear and you start to cry, you get goosebumps and you feel you're seeing something else and it regulated you. Artists do this, our athletes do this, good politicians do this. We lack good politicians. That's fine, but that's their job. Do you understand? And you can do this for yourself without depending on anyone. Why? Time of attention, immediate control of thoughts, beliefs, faiths, and ideas. The memory of the future is what you plan for the future, okay? Everything is memory. Even your plans stay in your head as a memory. And then you highlight this thought, highlight this one, highlight that one. And then you think, but I need exercise, I need tea, I need a good bath, I need this. And then you synchronize your life because all you have is this now. All you are is this now. Because tomorrow, if you continue, you are another being and you will have tomorrow's now. At this moment, you are this now. That's what I wanted to leave you with, folks. Until next Wednesday.